What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video. Now this is going to be more of like a discussion type video that will hopefully catch the ears of somebody that can do something about it. We'll see. But this is going to be my solution to what's going on with the state of the game. But yeah, if that sounds good, just buckle up, bring out your popcorn. I'll do a little bit of open world farming while I talk to you guys about this. Alright, so we all know that with the Division 2, we get, the state of the game, which is from Massive, and it comes out, once every week, and usually talks about, what them as developers are doing, whether it be timelines, progress. They even show some, player highlights. They try to, get the community involved in some way or another. Now, we also have what is called the player's state of the game. That is done by the Vibes, and he tries to bring in, other content creators once a week to kind of take what the developers have said in their state of the game and do their own player state of the game and try to decipher what the developers have said and what the players actually want from those content creators' point of view. Now, if we go back in time to year 1, shortly after the release of the Division 2, they did what was called an ETF. This ETF comprised of other content creators that, got to fly out to Sweden, go to, the headquarters, meet the development teams, play some new content, talk to the developers, try to figure out, solutions and ways to help better round and shape this game into what, we all want as the consumer. I thought that was a great idea initially, because not only did you have the content creators get to fly out, have this awesome experience, but they also got to voice their opinion to the developers and actually got to see some of it come to fruition. It actually helped shape the game. However, they've really gone away with that kind of, tactic, and especially with, the coronavirus, doing its thing and everyone is still working from home and quarantined and all that. My idea is, why not make a virtual ETF? My idea is doing a virtual ETF either via, Zoom. You can do conference calls. You can do this over Discord with video or voice chat. You could do this with Skype. You can do voice and video through Skype. I mean, you could do basically anything. I'm just saying Zoom and Discord because a lot of us are not in the same country. So it would be easier for us to use an app where we can, all use it together and not have any problems. Now, doing this, my idea on this is, say you do, I don't know, you don't want to have too big of a conference call, if you know what I mean. You want each creator to, establish their points of, their topics that they want to cover, and you would probably choose, 2 or 3 of your developers that actually are in the know. They know, okay, this is happening, this is not happening. They could answer, well-rounded questions, because as a content creator myself, I play this game every day, and I know this game inside and out. Every aspect of it, whether it be conflict, Dark Zone, Cassie Mendoza, open world farming, control points, the raid, I mean, you name it. it's pretty much already been done. So I would think that in order to have a developer do these calls and actually communicate with these content creators, you would need a few developers that are, I don't know, maybe team leads, to where they know certain aspects of the game. Not one developer knows the entirety of the game. You know, you have some that are PvE oriented, some that are raid oriented, some that are, you know, maybe PvP oriented. And if you have at least, you know, 3 developers together during this conference call, you know, with those 3 combined, they should be able to either relate to your question, relate to the topic that you are concerned about, and be able to actually answer the questions you have about the topic. Now, this goes back to the content creators. So what I would do is, so I just laid out what the developers would do, you know, have 2 or 3 developers, and that way they can answer any and all questions about any and all topics within that game. Now, for the content creator side of it, I would say maybe 5 content creators at once. And each content creator, you know, you want to limit it so that these conference calls aren't, you know, an hour or 2 long. So you'd limit it to, you know, say, you know, maybe each content creator has, you know, 15 or 20 minutes to talk. That way, you know, they can do back and forth with the developers, and then, you know, 15, 20 minutes goes by. Okay, this is your last question. Make it count. And then you ask your last question, and then all of a sudden it goes to the next content creator. And that way, you know, each person has a platform in which they can talk directly to the developers, because in a way, gaming companies don't really have game testers anymore. Not like, you know, that movie Grandma's Boy, where, you know, they pay people to sit there and just play their game and find bugs and, you know, all that. We as content creators are basically filling in that void for game testers. We play it time in, time out. We even make videos on it. We understand it down to the simple mechanics, and, you know, we are easy to explain and, you know, develop our idea and help, you know, others understand our idea. So I would say that each content creator would get maybe 3 to 5 topics that they, you know, feel strongly about and that they want to actually address with the development team. So with this model, you would have either a Zoom call or a Discord call. It would be, you know, maybe 3 developers and maybe 5 content creators. So, you know, 8 to 10 people max. You don't want to blow it up with too many people. So with this, you can go down the line, and then at the very end of each conference call, you can say, okay, does anyone have, you know, anything they want to touch on, summarize on, anything at all? Okay, nothing? All right, cool. And then those developers have those notes from those content creators, and they can move on to the next conference call. Because there are a lot of content creators on this video game. This video game does have a dedicated following. Not only that, but reasons for rant videos, you know, on like my part or Born to Game's part or anyone else that is sitting there doing rant videos, it's because we have played this game from the start. We played The Division from the start. We know exactly how this stuff ends up. And it's upsetting because we know that the development teams might have, you know, the ideas, and they might have, you know, ways of implementing those ideas. But it seems lately that the executions of these ideas, or the priority that they give to these ideas, are mix matched with what the community wants. Because us as content creators, we talk directly to the community. We hear their voices day in and day out, and a lot of them feel strongly about X, Y, and Z. Now, using that as a content creator, you can easily reach out to your individual, channel base and figure out, okay, what topics should I ask them about? And you could, put feelers out. Understand, okay, a lot of people from my region, they want to know about this. A lot of people that I play with, they want to know about this, because we know that there are numerous content creators that are either, news oriented, PvE oriented, only PvP oriented, and it's chainsaw guy, and it gives a nice variety of questions and topics. Like, as content creators, if they were able to do, say 10 conference calls, you could have the same developers do 10 conference calls over a span of, say a week, maybe 2 weeks if, they're busy. And through that, you could get 50 different content creators to voice their opinions on their topics, and you could have those same content creators day in and day out talk to each of them, compile data, and you could see, okay, 35 of these content creators feel strongly about this. Only 2 content creators care about this. So then they can, they can gauge where the community as a whole is feeling about certain topics. If we don't care about apparel events, then apparel events shouldn't be on the priority list. If, we care strongly about PvP, then PvP should probably be a little bit higher on the priority list. If, and the list goes on and on. I could sit here for hours talking about different parts of this game that I would just tweak in little ways here and there. That's why I have said from the get-go that, if they had even a few content creators just able to talk to them personally on a direct basis, you would get more out of it. Because making these videos and taking posts and, tagging them in it, hoping that they'll reply, is not the way to go. More times than not, they just ignore you, and when they don't ignore you, they usually get very defensive. So that goes to my next part, is respectful manner. You would have to do this in a respectful way. I'm not going to sit there and try to do a Zoom call and have one of the content creators just sit there and bash on the developers and cuss them out and this and that. That's not respectful. That's not what you're trying to do. Us as content creators, we are trying to build the community. We are trying to get our voices heard because we love the video game. We love the game franchise. We love the story. Maybe we want more hunters. Maybe we want, more lore. There's a lot of things that the developers might not think that we want, that the community actually is dying for, or they can't wait to see something like that. And to me, that's just, the strawberry, the cherry on top. And doing this in a respectful manner would probably open up the developers' eyes to see that the community isn't just full of toxic kids. The community is full of a lot of people that dedicate a lot of their time and effort into this video game because it is a lot of fun. It does keep us playing, and it's borderline addicting. However, it becomes toxic when the developers aren't listening to their community and their player base. If you listen to your community and your player base, you would easily have, more players come into it. You would easily have more people in your player base happy, and this would bring in more revenue. This would bring in more customers. Because if I was really loving this game and I was promoting, how much I love this game, then, maybe Bob and, Sally Joe or whoever, they watch the video and they're like, oh, hey, I'll try that video game out. It'll help everybody. It wouldn't just help the community. It would help the development team and, Ubisoft and Massive as a whole. because when you make your players happy, you're able to bring in more profits, and when you give out more content that's worth playing, the players are more likely to spend money and get that content. Destiny 2 is a great example of that. When Destiny 2 first was released and they did the Curse of Osiris DLC, they made it to where half the game was unplayable until you bought that DLC. The player base rallied, and Bungie heard their cries. They reverted a lot of that, and then from then on, they were beyond transparent with their player base on what is going on and how they are going to make the community happy. Now, I understand that Massive's development team is not Bungie. I fully understand that the budget in the Division 2 is not the same as Destiny 2. And, you know, I agree. They're similar games on two different platforms. One I would say is a high platform with a whole bunch of money backing it, and the other one is on, you know, a lower platform with less money backing it. However, the logic and the mindset is still the same. You're still, you know, listening to your community, and you're still wanting your player base to be happy. But alright, I'm gonna end that there. What I want to know is, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Would this help the community? Would this help the game as a whole? Do you see the developers actually listening and trying to implement something like this? I know we're all working from home with quarantine this and corona that. I get it, but it's not really an excuse. There are millions of companies that are doing the exact same thing working from home. As a video game company, a majority of what you do is on the computer and on your phones. It's not an excuse. And with that, you can still do an ETF and involve your community. All you have to do is, you know, set up a private Zoom call or set up a Discord, or, you know, you could even make like a whole event out of this. It would be an amazing thing for Massive to do, and I think it would dramatically change the image of this development team if they were to actually reach out to the community and, you know, do something like this. But alright, you guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. If you're a content creator, let me know what your thoughts are, if they would even try to consider this. I've already blasted this on Discord and Twitter. We'll see how this goes on YouTube. But alright, you guys, I'm Kamikazevondoom. I'm sorry to take up your time, but I think this is actually a pretty great idea, and it would help us all out as a community. Remember, we are not separate communities. We are the Division community. So we need to rally up together and try to get our voices heard. But alright, you guys, Kamikazevondoom. I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. Peace.